Alright guys, this is a difficult one, so just a little, not like a, not exactly a trigger warning, but perhaps a content warning. Um, this one is about intense loss and grief, and I talk about living through it, dealing with it, and coping with it. So, for some people, it might not be what you want to hear on Father's Day, talking about child loss, and it's a difficult thing to hear. So just be warned, that's what this episode heavily comprises of. I'm just, talking through it with you people to let you guys know kind of what I'm going through. And, yeah, it'll be some people's cup of tea, and some people just want to hear, jokes about sticking guns in your mouth and talking about how wicked the government is and all that good stuff. And we'll get back to that next week. But I'm taking this episode to be a little selfish and kind of update everyone on what's going on. So I'm recording this at the end of the episode because it was very difficult to get through. So just know all of that going into this one. It's not for everyone, but I do think there is value in kind of talking through these things and as men talking about emotions and dealing with this stuff. So anyway, much love. Appreciate you guys listening if you do listen to this one. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time.
You're listening to the Art and More podcast with your hosts, Nathan and BR. Nathan is a Canadian illustrator with a couple years of military experience, and BR is a British anarchist that moved to the States. Both are passionate shooters and community builders. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
How's it going, guys? My name's BR, and you are listening to the Art and War podcast. And today, it's gonna be a weird one. I won't lie. It's going to be a really odd episode. And I have some really bad news to share, which is why it's just myself on this episode. Listeners of the show, you might have noticed that there hasn't been an episode out for close to a month now. You might be wondering the reason for that. And unless you follow my personal page and were able to catch my single couple cryptic story posts about a month ago, yeah, I don't even know how to readily say this yet, but my wife and I, we had the worst day of our lives about a month ago, and we lost our daughter. And there's no easy way to say that. I still, whenever I think I'm at a good point to be able to say that and not have my voice crack, I'm proven wrong. But obviously I'm the producer and editor of this show, so when I'm taking out a commission without any prior planning, things kind of grind to a halt. We had a great episode recorded on flock cameras that's going to be coming out soon, but I wanted to address the absence and kind of what's going on with me, and it's I won't lie, it's a bit of a selfish one. I'm taking the episode because I want to talk about grief and what's gone on, and honestly, hopefully this might be useful to some of you who are going through similar things, have gone through similar things. I also just wanted to kind of document the moment, be present in it. So you might hear some weird ambiance this episode. I'm recording outside because I needed life and greenery and nature. But with that, I'm out in rural Appalachia, my property, so you'll hear, I'm sure, cicadas and all sorts of Appalachian birds and wildlife, and occasionally a dog shit clapped out truck rattle by. Um, or maybe some FRTs popping off, because Lord knows my neighbors have some good stuff stashed away. But yeah, this is gonna be a hard one, guys. I'm still processing things. I've had a lot of love from a lot of you people, a lot of people reaching out and sending their prayers, sending their love in the messages, and if you're hearing this before I've responded to you, my apologies. I've kind of been in a cave. I didn't know how to talk to anyone about this. I still don't really. It all feels kind of like a nightmare. One week we were shopping for cribs, my wife and I, and the next we were looking at urns for our baby's ashes. So it's weird, and I wanted to record this because I feel like kind of like our mental health episode a few weeks back, with Buckles. Men often, we try and wear this like steel mask of emotions for pussies and all that kind of thing. And I think that's horribly unhealthy. It's why so many men kill themselves. Because we don't really process that stuff right. And I've always been a guy that likes to wear his heart on his sleeve. So I figured this might be one more way to kind of help people navigate that weird thing that is being a dude and feeling something. So, I guess to get into it, for those who hadn't really been following, my wife and I's journey, not that I've been posting about it a lot, but I talk about it on here occasionally. We'd been wanting to be parents for a long time, and finally got married, and got the house that we wanted to start our family in, and we're in a place financially where it was like, yeah, now's the time, let's do it. And we wanted to do a home birth and all of that good stuff, proper crunchy hippie shit. And so we got ourselves a midwife, and once we found out we were pregnant, of course, my wife was pregnant, whatever. I don't even know what the correct way to say it is anymore. My wife, we weren't both pregnant, but as a couple, we had child. Whatever. And so, we were going through all of our checkups and everything that we'd been told, everything looks good, low risk, perfect, all the appointments, keeping up on nutrition for my wife, and just making sure everything was good with baby, listening for heartbeats, monitoring, growth and all that stuff, and everything was ideal, like exactly where we wanted it. No high risk signs, like everyone's saying, yep, looks like you guys are gonna be able to do a home birth. And we got to see our little baby moving on a monitor. I remember, that's the cicadas. I remember the first scan we did, I think it was at 14 weeks. Sorry guys, this is a bit of a dark one for Father's Day weekend. It's kind of why I'm recording it. It's my first it was going to be my first Father's Day, and it still is my first Father's Day. You know, I am a father of sorts, but it's just a little harder than expected. But anyway, so 14 weeks. We went for an early scan. My wife was as a first time mother, she was nervous about, she wanted to see our baby and make sure they were doing good. And so we went for an early scan and saw our tiny little one. Um, she was told to drink some caffeine, like a little bit of caffeine, before we went to the appointment. And we go in for the scan, and we see a child. Like, I expected to see, the baby and like tiny fetal baby, uh, but not really. I didn't really expect much more beyond that. But they were grooving. They were moving like crazy on the monitor, and it was adorable. They were like doing a little jig, um, and it melted our hearts. Seeing her. Well, we didn't know it was a her at the time. Seeing them move like that, it was wildly exciting. We got to see, kind of got to meet them for the first time. But that was too early to tell a gender. And then these days you can do a blood test at like 6 weeks to determine the gender. And we didn't really, we were a little bit suspect on that. We were like, 6 weeks sounds super early, and I'm not sure how accurate it would be, because it would be a shame to kind of get excited about one gender and start buying stuff for a boy or a girl, and then it turns out to be the other. So we were like, yeah, we'll hold off. And then we started getting a little stir crazy at like 16, 17 weeks. We were like, all right, we need to find out what gender this baby's gonna be. It had been such a chill pregnancy that, going off of old wives' tales, we were like, it's got to be a boy. Like, there's no way it's not a boy. And so that's just what we were set on. We were like, it's almost certainly a boy. And we'd both wanted a boy first. And so we get the blood test back and the gender results. We did like a little gender reveal, just the two of us. We had a friend take a box that we gave them, and we gave them a pink and a blue plushie and told them to look at the results, put the corresponding one in. And then my wife and we went for a picnic and opened the box. And gang, the surprise on our faces when it turned out to be a girl. I was not prepared. We were going to be happy with either, but we did not expect it to be a girl. And so instantly, like, my brain, I switched to, wow, my first child's going to be a girl. I gotta, I mean, one, my wife and this child are going to run this household, and I'm doomed. Gonna be like tea parties and shit like that around here. I still had it in my mind that this girl was going to be a shooter. Like, there was no question about that. We're going to have our moments of, her being a tomboy, but, the household was going to have an older girl first. And so that was kind of the new reality. And we were approaching 20 weeks, so me being me, I wanted to be way ahead. We started working on the nursery, got it all painted and new curtains in there, and started to get pieces of furniture. Didn't get the crib yet. Got a changing table and all that kind of thing. And 20 weeks came around, and we went to the hospital for like basically our first major appointment, just like checking all the boxes, making sure we weren't a high risk, that we were good to kind of proceed with planning for a home birth with our midwife. and did another scan. Everything looked great. Heartbeat of our little girl, super strong. You know, they wanted to see us again in 6 weeks, but aside from that, everything was grand. We did like a little 20-week photo shoot, and just it was just me and my wife. We didn't hire a photographer because I do photography and shit. So just took some wholesome baby bump photos at 20 weeks. Half baked and all that kind of thing. Um, and then 21 weeks came, and my wife, like, when I say it had been a chill pregnancy, I mean like no morning sickness, like no nothing. She There'd been like a couple of there'd been discomfort, there'd been a couple of weird pregnancy things, but like nothing like some mothers deal with, where it's like just sick for weeks or months on end in that first trimester. And all of a sudden my wife's feeling like severe abdominal pain, and we're like, this is not right. And so she was basically on bed rest out of nowhere. She'd been continuing to work, no problem. And all of a sudden she's just in bed, just in tremendous pain, and there's nothing I can do. I was like, do we need to go to the hospital? She's like, I don't know. And so we, kind of stuck it out for a little bit, for 2 days. And my wife is she's got to be one of the strongest women I've ever met. She she'll just endure, and not like stupidly so, but she's not one to say she's in pain over nothing, you know. And so I was concerned out of my mind, but until she was ready to go to the hospital, I mean, you know, I can't gauge her pain from just looking at her. And so eventually it's like 10 p.m. on, I think, a Saturday night, end of May, and she's like, I need to go to the hospital. And so all the urgent cares are closed around us, so we go to the nearest hospital. And we get in there. They were all pissed because they weren't our usual hospital, because we don't really have a usual hospital. We're not really, honestly, we're very healthy people, so don't really spend a lot of time in hospitals or have general practitioners, all that kind of thing. So we just went there out because it was an emergency and she was in so much pain. So anyway, they get to seeing her. They're monitoring for contractions. They're monitoring. They check baby's heartbeat. Baby's heartbeat is good. But she's just in like otherworldly pain, and so they're running all these tests. They do blood work. They're ruling out all the things, and eventually it's 2 a.m. and they can't find anything. They're just like, it's round ligament pain. And mind you, like, we know that the baby is super low at the minute, and everyone's just like, this is normal. Like, baby's tiny at the minute. Baby can move all over the place, Like, it's nothing to be concerned about. And so they we so we leave at 2 a.m. and we head home, and we're relieved, we've just seen doctors, and we get home at 2 a.m. and we're relieved, doctors said all was good. We're like, phew, it's just round ligament pain. I mean, sorry you're in so much pain, but I'm glad they crossed out any concerns. And so we go to bed. Well, I go to bed and I tell my wife, I'm like, you wake me up if there's anything. And she couldn't get sleep from the pain. She was just wandering the house. And at 5 a.m., she wakes me up. She goes, I can feel the baby's head. At 21 weeks. I don't know if I'd be able to get through this one without tears. I guess not. So I throw on my clothes and grab my keys as quick as I fucking can, and we hop in my wife's car. It's a little bit newer than my beaten up old truck, and I knew I could drive that thing a hell of a lot quicker and safer than mine. And we hop in it, and we head to the nearest hospital with an NICU. It's like 35 minutes away, guys. So I drove I drove quicker than I have ever driven in my life. And I did things that were I drove as safely and as fast as I could. And I drove like a demon. It was terrifying. To be honest with you, I think I speed everywhere I go. And I'm a safe driver, like I've never been in a wreck. I've just been, bumped by fucking idiots in Arizona. Really. But I was driving like 90 to 120 miles per hour with my wife in the passenger seat, saying that she felt our door coming and she couldn't keep her in. I was trying to keep her calm, and I had tears in my eyes knowing that 21 weeks is too little. And she had to unbuckle herself, because she was. So I'm driving that fast, just hoping I can get to a hospital on time. And we're about 20 minutes out, and it's not looking good. She's fighting, and we get on the phone, 911, medical emergency, and I'm like, do I just keep going or do I pull over for an ambulance? I don't know, And so they tell us to pull over and wait for an ambulance. There's so many what ifs in, times like this, and what I've had to learn through the grieving process is, one, a baby being born this early, there's no decision. 20 weeks they tell us we're perfect. 21 weeks this is happening. There was nothing that could have been done, in these split-second decisions. So I pull into a parking lot, and I'm told that EMTs are on the way, followed by an ambulance. So we pull into a parking lot, we're on the phone with 911, and they pull into the wrong parking lot. My heart just sinks. I'm calling out like, hey, like, they're on the wrong side of the road. We got our hazards on. Like, please. Please fucking get over here. And, my wife, she gave birth to our little girl in a parking lot in the car. And she says that she can't look down. And, you know, it's my job. I look down and I see our little girl's tiny feet, tiny hands. The EMTs come and they're trying to assist my wife. And we're both just weeping. I step outside of the car, and this firefighter, he looks as distraught as I must be, and he's just looking at me, just glum. He goes, "Are you okay?" I go, "No. I'm afraid you're about to give me the worst news of my life." And he just shakes his head and he goes, "I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry." I'm sorry, guys. This is such a vibe change from the usual on War show. But, so the ambulance pulls up, and we get in the back, and, we head to the hospital. I get separated from my wife for a little bit. I have to check her in, and I'm just in tears. I'm out of my mind. I've still got blood from the birth on my hands. I ask for a sync after I hand over my wife's insurance details and her ID and shit. And then I go to see her, and they had us in a room, the maternity ward, and they hand us our little girl. They clipped her cord at the scene, and that's when I knew. She was stillborn. And I really can't stand that term. I try not to use it too much. It even hurts to say. Obviously the term exists for a reason. But it's pretty miserable to say. And so there we were, just in the middle of the worst day of our lives, in a room, the two of us, our midwife. She was a godsend. She came and spent the day with us and grieved with us, and we just tried to, I was just trying to look after my wife and myself as best I could. And it was weird those first hours, because I went from, in a week, really, like 72 hours, went from joy and contentness and excitement over this pregnancy, to fear and worry, to sheer fucking terror and panic, and then just the deepest sorrow and pain I've ever felt. Just like in 72 hours. It was so bewildering. And, we were, in some ways, we were very fortunate with who we had looking after us. The nurse that was with us, her daughter, had a full term stillbirth, like quite recently. To get through the 9 months, like there's no. That's the. I hate this for any parents, wannabe parents, expectant parents, whatever, anyone listening. And this is the scariest thing that we kind of learned from all of this is like there's no safe point in the pregnancy. They say, wait until the second trimester to tell people. Because the first trimester, that's when, baby's most at risk and most delicate. But you have people get to 9 months and lose their child. Or halfway, like us. And it's horrifyingly common. This is in no way to dissuade anyone from, from having a child, but it's terrifying. Like, we were perfectly healthy, low risk, like no concerns a week prior. And then we get to this point. And so while we were in that room, it was surreal. We were holding a little door. It was the first time I got to I didn't envision holding her to come so soon. She was so tiny. She weighed 1 pound, 1 ounce. She was 11 inches long. And she already had so many beautiful features. She had features from my wife and I. My wife has this really beautiful little cupid's bow. If you know what that is, I didn't know what it was until I met her, but I didn't know there was a term for it. But just above her lips, like a little divot that's, really pretty. And looking at our tiny daughter's face, she had the same one. Just the most minuscule hands and ears and lips, a tiny little tongue. We've talked to a couple of people who've gone through the same thing. And a lot of them, understandably, they struggled to hold their child after the stillbirth. They were in such horror and shock, which we were too. They couldn't even look at them. And I'm so thankful my wife and I, we spent so much time with our little girl. By the time she was born, she was gone already. But we held her tiny body. We bathed her. We held her and we looked at her. I'm very thankful we did. God damn. I'm getting so quiet. You guys are really gonna complain about the audio on this one. It's so hard to talk. It's been it's been over 2 weeks, and it's still actually has it been 3 weeks. Shit, it's been 3 weeks, gang. Almost 3 weeks. And it's still so hard to talk. I'm so thankful we had the time with her. This hospital had a volunteer program where photographers come in and they photograph parents with their stillbirth children. And it sounds macabre, but I'm so thankful we said, yeah, please, if someone's available, please send them. And so someone came a couple of hours later. We were there from like, I don't know, 6 a.m. until 3 p.m., something like that. Maybe a little bit later. And this photographer came, and it was this just completely volunteer, It's what a crazy hard thing to walk into. And she was so gentle with us, she was suggesting poses, not it wasn't like a photo shoot, but just, hey, how about you guys, just move your hands like this, We had her tiny hands wrapped around our fingers, one from my wife and one from me. Now the crazy thing about that is they sent us a couple of rushed selects from the photos just in case we had like a funeral or anything planned, or whatever. And the very first ones, I don't blame them for this. It's a really tough job they've got. They do free retouching, and they just made her look nothing like she looked. Like, she was 21 weeks. Her head was, a little bit soft, like babies' heads, even at 9 months. They're a little bit soft. And they airbrushed the hell out of her to the point that she looked, like, really fetal. Like, I'm talking, like 7 weeks kind of fetal. Her head was just wrong compared to how she actually looked with her features. And so I, after they sent those pictures, I was like, hey, really appreciate the work. I know a lot of effort goes into retouching, but can we go a little bit lighter? Because it unsettled me to the deepest parts of my humanity to think that someone might be retouching my dead daughter's face with AI. It like really, really unsettled me. And so thankfully they went a lot easier on the rest of the photos and kind of untouched those photos and reverted them back to a more natural look, which I'm very thankful for, because like I was saying, a lot of parents, they can't look at their child when something like this happens, but it's really been one of the few comforts we can get, is to look at them and to look at the beautiful person that we made together. So, on that day, it was a nightmare, but there were beautiful moments too. Meeting our daughter, I have to look back on that time now as a beautiful thing. It's something that's gonna haunt me the rest of my life. But I'm so thankful that we had that time to spend with her, to hold her. And man, the tears, I mean, for one, I hadn't expected to feel like hurt like that for quite some time, until like the loss of, a parent or something, which, at our age, God forbid, that's decades and decades and decades away. So it was not even on my radar. Something like this happening during this pregnancy was not in the book for us. There was nothing low risk. We weren't prepared for this to even be an eventuality. It's dumb, but my wife and I, we'd been watching Yellowstone, finally finished it. And spoiler alert, during the last season, one of the characters a loses their baby while she's pregnant, and it's a really sad arc. And we're watching that, you know, being told everything's green lights go and everything's healthy as can be, and we've got no concerns. And we're watching that, we're just like, God, how horrible! Like I couldn't even imagine. And not a week and a bit later, we're going through that ourselves. It was the most surreal, fucked up irony. I don't know if it's actually an irony. Whatever. You know what I mean. I had to record outside today because I've been spending a lot of time out here when we talk about the difficult times that we've been going through. We live in this woodland, and so I just come out here and I see all these beautiful birds and all this greenery, and it's a respite from the real world. It's also so hard though. I look at when I saw this property, I saw myself and my wife running around with our little ones here, and I still do. But our little girl, we named her. I don't want to share her name on the podcast because it's as doxing as anything else, but we picked a real pretty name for her, and I look at the open patches of green and the trees, and I can't help but imagine running around with my little girl at all different ages. It's one of the things that hurts the most. I'd already seen her, you know, as a tiny baby learning to crawl, and a toddler learning to run before they can walk. And, a little girl old enough to kick around a ball with a dorky, lanky dad. Teaching her to say football, which would absolutely ruin her playing sports. Because football is with your feet. You kick the thing. It ain't soccer. But, gang, it's been the most difficult thing of my life. I do appreciate the patience and the love so many of you have given me. And for those of you who have stuck through listening to this so far, you have my thanks as well. This, it's a selfish one, I'm sure many of you didn't want to pick up Art and War after almost a month of radio silence and hear me voice cracking, explaining more doom and gloom. But I felt like I had to share what happened. I couldn't just carry on without the context of the most major thing that's ever happened in our lives. Because I don't know what I look like in the long term after this. Family was already a priority, massively over social media and even the show. Family's always first. We say that in all sorts of episodes. It's why we've done dad advice for 200 plus episodes. But yeah, I'm kind of fresh in it. I'm figuring out what moving forward looks like. I've been just pinging between shock and hysterics and tears and numbness and also moments of being able to laugh with my wife. Like that day in the hospital after it all happened, I didn't know if I would ever be able to crack a stupid joke again. I really didn't. I was sitting there I felt like my humor died with our door. I didn't think I'd ever be me again. Not how I was. But I think one of the most important things with grief and loss, like, you have to keep on living for those that aren't here anymore, whether it's, a child or a parent or a sibling or a friend or a grandparent. You have to keep on seeing the beauty of this world for them. Our little girl, she never got to see the world. She only ever knew the warmth and love and safety of the womb and her parents' voices. So we have to experience it for her, and that's the thing I have to keep in mind for my wife and I is, like, life doesn't end because of this, and it can't, even with all of the doom and horrible shit going on in the world, like, you gotta keep on living for those that can't see it. There's so much beauty, honestly, so much more beauty than horror and grimness in the world. Even if it feels, there is an imbalance right now with the headlines and the despair so many are in. You have to live through it, and that's what I'm trying to learn to do right now. So, we're going to couples grief counseling, and we're each other's rock right now, my wife and I. Like, I've been the strong one aplenty, but there's many moments where it's my wife comforting me. And I'm very thankful for that. It's been the hardest thing I think we'll ever go through. I don't think any parent ever expects to bury or cremate their child. When we were in that hospital room, amidst everything, they come to us with talks of how we were gonna deal with our baby's body. They asked us if we wanted her cremated or, to take her remains to bury, or what we wanted to do. And fortunately, the main thing was, like, we wanted answers, like, why did this happen? And I was so afraid they'd want to do an autopsy on her, and fortunately they said, like, we'll take the placenta. and we'll run tests on that, and we'll get far more information from that than we will from an autopsy. Like, we don't need to do an autopsy, don't worry about that. So thank God. So we I mean, God, when they showed me the papers and showed my wife the papers about taking her off for cremation, it was just more tears. It was more just, I never thought I would be looking at funeral homes for my child. But fortunately, a local place did free cremations for babies. It's, a rare, you know, moment of respite amidst everything. And so, my wife gave birth and we went home without a baby. And then it was kind of figuring out, you know, after that initial shock and incredible pain and trauma, honestly, from the panic of the drive and the birth in the car. Like, we're both traumatized from it, honestly. Um, and once we got home, it was figuring out, like, how do we start healing? Like, where do you begin? And fortunately, we were able to have my wife's dad came and stayed with us for a couple of days. Flew out from Arizona to be with us. My parents are, they offered to come, but I mean, they'd be coming all the way from New Zealand, which is crazy because we're not doing anything. We're just sitting inside on the couch, crying, you know, just surviving that first week. So I would have loved for them to be here, but it just didn't make any sense, Like, I'd rather see them when we're a little bit more healed. So yeah, that first week it was figuring out how do we begin the healing, and there was weird little milestones, like just telling, our community, our friends and family that my wife was no longer pregnant. That was one of the first things, because we were still getting likes and comments on a post, celebrating the 20-week milestone, and it hurt every time to see them. So I wrote up a little something and shared it, and it took us 3 days to be able to share that, but we knew, it was in our own time, but we knew the longer we put it off, the longer we were kind of putting off that start to us being able to not accept, but acknowledge this happened. And so we made that post, and all of a sudden the world knows, and we're getting messages from all sorts of people, and there was a lot of love and a lot of tenderness. People brought us meals while we're just sitting around, just distraught, barely able to look after ourselves. People were very loving and kind to just drop food off at our door, and after a couple of days, some would stick around and chat with us a little bit as we were able to. It just felt like every time we told someone new or talked about it, it was like tearing stitches. But it was also good to talk about our little girl, to acknowledge her as a real person. I think that's something that I find really, I don't know, quite difficult. Because people, they lose pregnancies at all different stages. And if you lose it so early on, people, it's easier to not think of that baby as, someone with a first and last name. But for us, she had our name. She had a first name that we gave her. First name that my wife decided on when she saw her face. We had uh, we had three favorites, and we said that we would pick one when we saw her face and kind of decided if she was one or the other. And and she picked a beautiful name of the three. But yeah, I think it was good to talk about her with people, and we got some gifts from people, like this little, I don't know what you call them, some hippie thing, like a sun catcher or something. It's like a chain with little reflective things that you hang in the window, and as the sun comes in, it reflects little rainbow specks all over the room. And someone sent us one with little angel wings and our daughter's name engraved on it. And it's we don't have a proper urn for her yet for her ashes, so we don't have a name elsewhere. So even just seeing her name, it's been good. you know I think it helps to, when it's difficult to talk about her, to just see her name. She's a presence in our home. So telling people and talking to people about her, that was like really the first step. And the second step was getting the ashes back. Like when I went to go and pick up my wife's father from the airport, when he was coming in, I got the call from the morticians, and they were like, "Hey, like we need paperwork from you to carry out this cremation." And good lord, the guy on the phone, I get that they do this day in day out, but the man's like, "Hey, I need the go ahead for the cremation of your baby," and just uh, it was wild to hear that sentence. And you know, I was like, it was a crematorium that was quite a ways away from our home. It was like almost an hour. So it was, a 2 hour round trip to go there. And so I was like, "Hey, you're a ways away." And they just said that we could do verbal consent to carry out the cremation. So they did that on a Wednesday, and by Friday it was time to go and pick her up. And so on the day, I on the Friday, I was like, it should be they should have done the cremation by now, but they hadn't called me, so I called them up and they're like, "Yep, she's ready for you to come and collect." And I asked my wife, I was like, "Are you ready to go and pick her up?" And it was just like telling the world that she was gone. We didn't want to put it off because we wanted to do everything as we were ready, as we were able to, but pushing things back, it just made it hurt more. Like we're pushing off the, it hurts either way, but we're just delaying this pain, you know. And it's true of doing anything difficult, but especially when it's like emotionally painful. And so we drove we drove in my truck because for her to ride in the passenger seat of her car again after giving birth there. It was still, you know, painful and traumatic for her. So we drove in my truck and we go and pick her up. And it was such a small amount of ashes. Here come more tears. Fucking hell. It was such a small amount of ashes. And it had her name printed on it. And let me tell you guys, when my wife first saw my truck all those years ago, and we first started talking about kids, she pushed back on the idea of me still driving this truck by the time we had kids. She was like, it's too old to be safe. I was like, this thing was built when people gave a shit. It's probably one of the safest vehicles you could drive a kid around in. I was determined to have baby seats in the back of that pickup. And I thought, you know, I was starting to shop for baby seats for my pickup. I thought it's gonna be a few more months until my daughter rode in the back of that truck. And she didn't ride in the back. She rode in my wife's lap. In a box up front. So we still don't have those car seats. It's not how I expected her to come home. But she's home now. And so every night we say goodnight to her. And every morning I come out and I talk to her just like I planned to, whether she was a newborn and she couldn't understand a word of me, or how I talked to my wife's stomach when she was pregnant. And how I would talk to her when she could start to understand us. I just tell her I miss her, I'm thinking about her, and I'm glad she's home. I just miss her. And I feel like I've had an organ ripped out. I feel like I woke up somewhere with, you know, stitches and in a bathtub full of ice, missing something. And that's nothing, because my wife's going through the exact same thing while she's physically healing from all of this. Like, she's dealing with the emotional pain while she's physically recovering from this. So any pain that I've got, you know, she's been going through it and more. I haven't even been able to read all the messages you guys have been sending me. And I'm gonna start getting back to some of you people. But I've just been in a cave, you know. I'm already back at work because, world keeps on rolling. I'm not ready to be. I'm but whatever, you know. It's kind of a coin flip of grief. Like, you either just live in it or you try and distract yourself, and both seem wrong. It feels disrespectful to not be mourning every second of every day, but it also, I mean, to just be 100% present is also horrible. So, there's been points of purposeful numbness, and then points of, you know, living in the fields and just ripping the ripping the stitches out because you need to cry and you need to acknowledge what happened. And right now, responding to every message, it kind of feels like ripping the stitches. So it's there's been moments of it, but it's been difficult. I knew I couldn't just carry on with the show without addressing it, you know? I couldn't just come back and and not talk about it. It's been really hard to find kind of where to go next, you know? Like for us figuring out how do we heal from this. And I think one of the most difficult things to learn in this process is like this is a lifelong wound. It I feel like I've lost a leg or an arm. This is something that it will be just part of who we are for the rest of our lives. Like, I I'll always, it doesn't matter if we have one kid or eight, like there's always going to be one child that's missing. And I'm actually, I'm a little afraid of giving our kids a complex because they're always going to have one sibling that never did any wrong, you know. there is there is a perfect sibling that was so pure and good, and she never had a chance to do anything wrong. Our oldest, like we obviously still want a child, and once we hopefully we get some kind of answer. God, I hope we get some kind of answer as to what happened, because if so far all medical professionals we've talked to have gone like, we have no idea why this happened, and that's terrifying. Like, everyone has said this makes no sense, which is about the furthest fucking thing from comfort anyone could provide to us, except for the fact that, we didn't do anything wrong. It's like, what the fuck do you do with that? So, we do plan on trying again once we've determined, like, we've done everything we can to make sure my wife and I are healthy and good to go physically and mentally, but I'm afraid of what that looks like, Like, we're gonna go from being very relaxed and chill. Obviously, like, looking after ourselves and doing what we needed to be healthy and good for getting pregnant, but we're gonna be anxious as hell every week. You know, the 21 week mark is gonna be terrifying. Like babies, they need to get to minimum the 24-week mark to be viable in the intensive care ward, you know, in the NICU. Um, and even then, it's a miracle when they're that little. So, and then knowing that you can get to full term and still lose a baby, I mean, good lord, I have no idea how we're gonna, you know, like we're gonna go from being low risk and want to do the home birth thing to now we're gonna be doing the conventional, you know, hospital visits and probably hospital birth and all of that, at least for this next one, because you know we're not going to do this again. And unfortunately, I think this takes us from being, you know, incredibly low risk to now high risk, which sucks. So going forward, I really don't know. You know, like I've been back at work, and just like this episode, I wasn't just gonna come back and, you know, when people ask me, everyone knows kind of what went down, but I wasn't gonna do a little, you know, are you doing all right, and just nod, like, no, I'm not doing all right. I lost my daughter. I uh, I wanted her. We wanted her more than anything, you know. Like I wanted kids for so long, and it's not like we're, you know, aging out of being able to have kids. We still got plenty of time, but we wanted her so badly. She was so loved and so wanted. And we did everything we could to set up a beautiful place for her to come into. And so coming back, I wasn't just gonna be like, yep, you know, like I'm not okay, you know. I'm not coming back into work and being at 100%. There's weird moments where I hit a stage of like, you know, there's like unexpected anger, which, you know, anyone that knows me, while I might be a little spicy online, you know, bitching about the government or whatever it might be, usually the government, um, in some capacity, you know, I'm actually a pretty chill person in my day to day. Try and look at life for the beauties of it and find optimism even in, you know, the shittier moments. And right now I'm just angry at the universe. I've had a couple of friends reach out, um, and no one's like pressured me on this subject, but I think some people might expect this to be like the start of my, you know, my religious arc, and I can see why they might think that. I've had family that have lost kids. One uncle and aunt of mine, they lost a child to a family friend babysitting them and shaking them to death when they were like 1 year old. And it is a miracle they didn't kill that woman. Like, it's only through finding God they didn't, and they were able to process that grief and, you know, carry on with their lives. And you know, I'm not going to be apologetic about this. Like, I don't think this is going to be the start of my Christianity arc, I'm sorry to tell people. And, I'm not here to debate theology or anything. I just, I don't know. I find it difficult to mate up, um, a loving God that would take a child at 21 weeks. I don't see the plan though. I don't see the love or the care. So, no hate to those praying for us and all of that, but I don't think this is going to be the thing that does it, gang. But I will share with you something that when I started recording, I wasn't sure I was going to share. I'm going to light a little something for this to celebrate the Supreme Court not being made up of fucking idiots living in the Stone Ages. When my daughter died, and I was holding her and my wife, I mean, she was running on 0 hours of sleep. She was exhausted. She hadn't been sleeping for, a day or more prior to everything that went down. And so she was getting some rest in the hospital room, and I was holding our little girl, her lifeless body. I was looking out the window, and there was blue sky and trees right outside the window. And I'm not a religious person, but my daughter, she never got the chance to think about that, to make up her own mind. And she found out. She found out what comes next for us. So, I said a little prayer for her. It's the first time I prayed since since being raised in a Church of England school, when atheist teachers would just have us recite, whatever the prayer they were reading out of a book that day was. It was maybe the first sincere prayer in my life. I don't know if anyone heard it, whether it was God or the universe or no one. But she never got the chance to decide for herself. And I don't know what comes next. So I just asked. If there is a God, just please give her the home and the love and the warmth that we didn't give a chance to give her. Just look after her for us. Just give her a home and make sure she's safe and knows that we love her. So much. I don't know if anyone was listening, but it was weird. I didn't feel a compulsion It wasn't an out of body experience. I was just looking at those trees in the blue sky and realizing I'd never be outside with my daughter. And I exist for the beauty of nature, the beauty of this world, and I was looking forward to sharing that with her more than anything. And so, I just felt compelled as I was holding her, looking out there, just hoping that wherever she is, it's as beautiful as that sight, as beautiful as the property I wanted to enjoy with her. So yeah, guys, we're healing, and honestly, I think my wife and we're doing as good as we can be, you know? Like, grief, especially the loss of a child, it's one of the most difficult things in the world to overcome. There's no rhyme or reason to it, there's no fairness to it, there's no expectancy of it. Like, you know, we know everyone dies, but like in their own time, hopefully, grandparents and parents, it's great grandparents, it's all part of life. Older siblings, like it's not something we're ever thrilled about, but it is a part of life. It's something that you brace yourself over a lifetime to deal with. You just never expect it to happen with children. And so, like I said, we've got grief counseling, we're working through it, we're each other's rock, and it's probably gonna be a lifelong wound. I'm heartbroken. We're both just so utterly heartbroken. And it's weird because I think once you find your person, like really your person, like once I found my wife, this sounds ridiculous to people, but it's true. Like we've never once had a fight. Like we debate. We might disagree. My wife might not like how I say things sometimes, or we have differing opinions on some things, but like it's never a fight. It's always a respectful discussion. It's rarely even like that much of a debate. I'm so fortunate to have that because things like this, the loss of a child, it breaks people up, like I think our marriage is stronger than ever despite all of this, and I would not be able to do this without her as my partner. She's such a strong woman. She was a warrior dealing with all of this. I love her so much. I just wish I wish there was anything I could have done to protect her from this pain, because, Lord, the only thing more painful than feeling like I'm missing something, like there's a chunk of my heart gone, is seeing the same pain in her. And there's nothing I can do aside from be there and be the husband I promised to be. So, I'm not going to drag this one out too long for you guys. I really appreciate anyone who's took the time to listen to this. It's a dark one, and so I just needed to share this with the people and put things in perspective and talk about the grieving I'm going through right now. Not hide it, not act like everything's okay, because unfortunately it's not. You know, but we are, in terms of our grieving, it's you know pretty textbook. I think we're healing the healthiest way we can. I think we're managing this to the best of our abilities. So we will heal. There will be good times in the future. Like like I said, that first day, I didn't think I'd ever laugh again. I didn't think I would ever crack a dumb joke. By the end of the day, I was, which is insane to think about, but in times like these, if you're not laughing, you're crying. And I'm so sick of crying, guys. I've cried more than I've ever cried in my life. I haven't cried like this since I can remember. It's been dry tears and like dehydrating myself tears and the kind of wails and sobs like you don't think you're even capable of making as a man. It's fucking horrible. So, on this Father's Day, I'll say to anyone who has a child, is planning on having a child, mothers, fathers, brothers, siblings, grandparents, anyone listening, hold anyone you love close. Like, seriously, when people mess up, just have forgiveness in your hearts, have love in your hearts. Life is so precious. Hold your children close and appreciate every moment of it. Be present. Put your fucking phone away. you know, and even during the pregnancy, cherish, the movement when you see the scans, and talk to your lady's belly, because the baby can hear you. They feel that love. That's my dad advice. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. This was a grim one for Father's Day. It gives me no joy to be spending my first Father's Day talking about this stuff. But thank you so much for listening. I love our community. I love the warmth of you guys and the realness of you people. I think we have the rare gift of knowing what life's about. People are very present in our circles, and really, really value that. Life is beautiful. The world is beautiful, even when it's fucking horrible and does horrible things to you. There's still so much beauty left. Anyway, I gotta grind this thing to a halt. So, much love, and thank you for all the kind words from you people, the prayers. I wish there was, everyone asks, what can I do for you? Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Just allow me a little bit of space. It's difficult to talk about, which is it's hard because sometimes I want to talk about my daughter, sometimes I want to just be, living in anything else. But, she's a real person. She's a part of our family. Even if she's gone, she'll always be our daughter. And I'll always have a daughter and be a father. Anyway, with that, much love, guys. Thank you for listening. Next week will be a little bit different. We'll be back to our more regular scheduled content. It'll actually be an Art More Investigates on Flock, so it'll be an informative one. But anyway, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, okay, bye.